Joe's neighbors couldn't help but notice the growing number of children arriving at his home each month. While the community admired his generosity, whispers spread about the unusual frequency of new additions to his family. People speculated about his motives, but nothing prepared them for the truth that would soon emerge. One call to 911 by his own kids changed everything. The first child Joe adopts is a 10-year-old boy named Timmy, who had been in and out of foster care homes. Timmy, with his hopeful eyes and cautious smile, immediately warmed up to Joe. "You're safe now," Joe told him, patting his back gently. As Timmy settled into his new home, he couldn't help but feel a sense of stability he had never known. Joe's kind demeanor immediately makes Timmy feel safe, and neighbors initially praised Joe for his generosity. "You've got a heart of gold, Joe," Mrs. Thompson said one morning. Timmy, slowly easing into his new life, spent afternoons playing in the yard. Joe often joined him, their laughter echoing through the neighborhood. Everyone believed Joe was doing a wonderful thing for Timmy. Joe enrolls Timmy in the local school and participates in community events to integrate him. At the school meeting, Joe introduces Timmy to other parents. Mrs. Clark, the teacher, assures Timmy, "We're all happy to have you here." Timmy starts to make friends and attends weekend fairs with Joe. The neighborhood watches, convinced that Joe is providing Timmy the family life he always deserved. As the month ends, Joe quietly visits the orphanage again, looking for another child to adopt. "Another one, Joe?" the social worker asks, raising an eyebrow. Joe nods, responding softly, "I have room for one more." The orphanage staff is touched by his dedication. Little do they know, this is just the beginning of Joe's frequent visits, each shrouded in mystery. Timmy feels a creeping unease as Joe returns home with more children, sensing something is off. Late at night, he hears Joe whispering on the phone, the words too muffled to understand. "Is everything all right, Joe?" Timmy asks. Joe smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. "Of course, Timmy," Joe answers. But the feeling of unease doesn't go away, lingering in the shadows. 2 months in, Joe brings home a shy 8-year-old girl named Sarah, who clings to Timmy for comfort. "This is Sarah," Joe introduces as Timmy holds out a hand. Sarah, barely looking up, squeezes Timmy's fingers tightly. "It's okay. We're friends now," Timmy assures her. Night after night, Sarah follows Timmy closely, her silent demeanor raising concerns for everyone who meets her. Sarah barely speaks, and Timmy starts to become more reclusive, alarming the neighbors. Mrs. Thompson waves at Timmy one morning, but he hurriedly looks away. "Something's different," she comments to a friend. Sarah's silence and Timmy's withdrawal become the talk of the town. People start wondering why the children seem unsettled, their initial praise for Joe slowly giving way to curiosity and doubt. Community members discuss increasing donation drives to support Joe, despite the unsettling dynamics. "We should help him more," suggests Mr. Carter at a town meeting. Funds and supplies pour in, and Joe accepts them graciously. "Thank you all. This means so much," he tells the crowd. Though conversations over coffee start to include doubts and questions, the drive to support Joe remains strong. Local social workers grow curious about Joe's recurring adoption applications, but he quells their suspicions for now. "You're doing a wonderful job, Joe," they say during visits. Joe maintains his calm demeanor, answering questions with practiced ease. "I just have a lot of love to give," he says humbly. The social workers leave, somewhat reassured, but whispers among them hint at growing skepticism. Joe's calm replies to the social workers quell their curiosity for now, as he continues his routine. "I want to provide a loving home," he assures them, maintaining steady eye contact. His confidence and collected demeanor leave little room for doubt. The social workers nod, taking notes but feeling somewhat reassured. As Joe closes the door behind them, he takes a deep breath, ready to continue with his well-rehearsed facade. At night, Joe quietly reassures Sarah and Timmy to play along, ensuring they remain silent. "Remember, if anyone asks, you're happy here," Joe whispers, his eyes steely. Timmy and Sarah nod obediently, fear flickering in their eyes. "Everything will be fine if you just follow what I say," Joe continues. The children, though uneasy, cling to each other for comfort, hoping this nightmare will end soon. By the 4th month, Joe's household includes 3 more children with distinct backgrounds. Each child comes with their own story, their own struggles. Joe introduces them to Timmy and Sarah. "Meet your new siblings." The introductions are a mix of hesitant smiles and anxious glances. "We're a big family now," Joe adds, masking any malevolence with a warm smile. The house grows livelier, but undercurrents of unease persist. The new additions raise eyebrows and stir more whispers across the neighborhood. Mrs. Thompson comments to Mr. Carter, "Isn't it a bit much? So many kids?" Mr. Carter, scratching his head, responds, "It's admirable, but odd." Over garden fences and during grocery runs, neighbors discuss the growing number of children in Joe's home. Despite their reservations, no one dares confront Joe directly, allowing the unease to fester. At school, Timmy, Sarah, and the others show signs of social withdrawal and unusual behavior. Mrs. Clark notices Timmy no longer plays with his classmates. "Is everything okay at home?" she asks, but Timmy just shrugs. Sarah sticks close to the other new kids, their tight-knit group an island of isolation. The teachers begin to murmur among themselves, worried yet unsure about how to address the situation. Teachers begin to document instances where the children seem overly disciplined. Mrs. Clark writes in her report, "Observed Timmy, with red marks on his arms." Another teacher notes Sarah's increasing absence from group activities. "Something must be wrong," Miss Peterson states during a faculty meeting. While no direct evidence points to any wrongdoing, the teachers feel compelled to keep a closer eye on Joe's children, hoping to understand more. Joe starts making frequent trips to the hardware store, purchasing various locks and tools, raising further suspicion. "What's all this for?" the cashier asks out of curiosity. Joe grins. "Just some home improvements." He loads the items into his car, driving away with a sense of purpose. Neighboring eyes watch from behind curtains, noting his increased activity, but unaware of the true nature of his projects, shrouded in mystery. The newly adopted children appear visibly anxious, often stealing worried glances at Joe. During dinner, their eyes dart around, wary of Joe's every move. "Eat up, kids. We need to stay strong," Joe says, but his tone is more commanding than caring. The children comply, fear forcing their obedience. Each night, whispered conversations among the youngsters express mutual concern, their bonds tightening under Joe's looming and intimidating presence. Local news catches wind of Joe's string of adoptions and features him as a beacon of hope. "A hero in our midst," headlines proclaim. The reporter lauds Joe's apparent generosity. "Meet the man giving so many children a loving home." Joe, smiling for the camera, downplays his efforts. "Just doing my part." The community's admiration resurfaces, momentarily eclipsing the unease spreading among neighbors and school staff. During an interview, Joe provides evasive answers about his motivations, focusing on the children's need for love. "Why so many adoptions?" the reporter inquires. Joe responds, "Every child deserves love, a family." His rehearsed but vague replies leave no room for deeper scrutiny. Viewers at home nod approvingly, touched by his supposed selflessness. Behind the scenes, however, doubts linger, as Joe deftly sidesteps probing questions to maintain his benevolent facade. During a tour of Joe's home for a local news feature, a reporter notices a heavily secured room. "What's behind this door?" the reporter asks, pointing to the multiple locks. Joe, calm and collected, replies, "Oh, it's just my personal space." He chuckles, adding, "A man needs his privacy." The reporter, somewhat satisfied, moves on. Still, the image of the locked room lingers in their mind, raising questions. Timmy's homeroom teacher, Mrs. Clark, notices his increasing bruises and withdrawn behavior. "Timmy, is everything okay at home?" she asks gently. The boy looks down, mumbling, "I'm fine." Unconvinced, Mrs. Clark contacts Child Services, flagging Timmy's bruises and erratic behavior. "I'm worried about one of my students," she explains. They assure her they'll investigate. As Mrs. Clark hangs up, a gnawing worry persists, forcing her to keep a closer watch on Timmy. A social worker visits Joe's home after Mrs. Clark's report. Joe greets them warmly, inviting them in. "I've heard concerns about Timmy," the social worker states. Joe nods, maintaining his calm demeanor. "Kids can be clumsy," he explains, showing neatly kept rooms. "They fall sometimes." The social worker, noting the clean home and polite children, leaves with reassurances. Joe's smooth talking, however, hasn't completely erased their suspicions, adding another layer of worry. With whispers spreading, the community starts questioning whether they truly know Joe. "When did he move here?" asks Mrs. Thompson. "A few years ago, right?" Mr. Carter responds. Neighbors swap stories, each more uncertain than the last. "Have you ever been inside his house?" asks another. "No, just the yard." Doubts begin overshadowing previous admiration. While no one openly accuses Joe, the seed of doubt grows, making the once warm welcome feel strained. Unable to ignore the neighborhood chatter, Officer Michael decides to keep a discreet watch on Joe. "Just observing," he tells himself, parking his car unobtrusively on Joe's street. Day after day, he notes Joe's activities, watching the children leave and return from school. Each night, Michael's curiosity deepens as he sees Joe's late-night outings. "Where's he going?" Michael murmurs, determined to uncover Joe's secret. His watchful eye marks the beginning of a deeper investigation. Michael follows Joe around town, noting that every late-night outing ends at obscure destinations. Joe's routine seems odd. No familiar places, just isolated spots. One night, Joe parks near an abandoned warehouse. Another time, he's at a secluded part of town. What's he up to? Michael wonders, noting each location in his journal. The more he follows, the more surreal Joe's actions become, fueling Michael's suspicions and the neighborhood's growing mistrust. Determined to uncover Joe's activities, Michael stakes out the house, noting every visitor. He observes new faces, different cars pulling up, and hurried exchanges at odd hours. Who are they? Michael thinks. None of the visitors stay long, never more than a few minutes. The arrivals and departures raise more questions. By morning, the stakeout leaves Michael with a list of unexplained visitors and mounting curiosity, pushing him closer to uncovering Joe's secrets. During one of Joe's midnight shipments, Michael hears the children's muffled cries, but lacks evidence to act. Pressing his ear against the fence, the faint whimpers chill him. "I need proof," he mutters. The cries stop as quickly as they began, leaving Michael tense and frustrated. He knows he's onto something, but needs tangible evidence. This incident hardens Michael's resolve. knowing the children might be in more danger than he had imagined. Michael contacts the orphanage for records, revealing that each child had a troubled history. Timmy, Sarah, and the others all had difficult pasts, the records officer states. Michael flips through pages of sad backstories, noting patterns of instability. These kids are vulnerable, he realizes. The more he reads, the more he's convinced Joe's motives aren't pure. Troubled histories linked to Joe's suspicious behavior drive Michael to dig deeper, determined to find the truth. Convinced something dark is happening, Michael plans to collect irrefutable proof. I need to be careful, he tells himself, reviewing his notes and surveillance. He decides to install hidden cameras around Joe's property, hoping to capture any incriminating evidence. As he carefully places the devices, Michael's determination grows. The plan is risky, but he knows it's necessary. The safety of the children depends on him uncovering the truth about Joe's hidden activities. One morning, Alex approached Ms. Robbins hesitantly. "Can I talk to you?" Alex asked, looking over his shoulder nervously. Ms. Robbins nodded warmly, guiding him to a quiet corner. "What's on your mind?" she inquired, her voice gentle. Alex fidgeted before speaking. "It's Joe. Something's not right." The fear in Alex's eyes was unmistakable, sending a shiver down Ms. Robbins's spine. She knew she had to take this seriously. As Alex spoke, Ms. Robbins couldn't help but notice the fear and stress in his voice. "Joe makes us do things we don't want to," Alex whispered. Ms. Robbins frowned, her heart aching for the boy. She decided she needed to know more. "Thank you for telling me, Alex," she said softly. She felt a knot of worry tighten in her chest, convinced that she needed to investigate further. After school, Ms. Robbins decided to visit Joe's home under the guise of a wellness check. "I'm just here to see how everyone's doing," she told herself, driving towards Joe's house. Upon arriving, she knocked on the door, forcing a friendly smile. Joe opened the door, his face lighting up in surprise. "Ms. Robbins, what a pleasant surprise!" he exclaimed. Her instincts told her to stay alert. Inside Joe's home, Ms. Robbins noticed Alex giving her anxious glances, his hands trembling slightly. Joe offered her tea, his polite demeanor unwavering. "Would you like a tour?" he suggested. Ms. Robbins nodded, taking in every detail. Alex's fearful glances were hard to miss. "How are the kids adapting?" she asked, trying to keep her tone casual. Joe's rehearsed responses masked any underlying tension, but Alex's anxiety was evident. As Miss Robbins left Joe's home, she couldn't shake the uneasy feeling. Alex's anxiousness and Joe's overly perfect behavior didn't sit right with her. "Something's definitely off," she muttered, driving away. The visit had only deepened her suspicions. She decided that she couldn't ignore this any longer. Convincing herself that the children needed help, she began forming a plan to dig deeper into Joe's life and actions. Ms. Robbins knew she needed help, so she contacted Officer Michael. "We need to talk," she urged. At a local cafe, she shared her concerns about Joe. "Alex is terrified, Michael. It's not normal," she insisted. Michael listened intently, his face growing more serious. "We need a plan to get those kids out safely," he agreed. Together, they began hatching a plan to rescue the children from Joe's clutches. Joe, oblivious to the brewing storm, prepared for his annual celebration event. More security measures, he told himself, installing additional locks and cameras. The celebration was supposed to showcase the well-being of his adopted children and silence any critics. "Everything has to be perfect," he muttered. He envisioned a flawless event that would portray him as a benevolent guardian, dismissing the growing suspicions around him. On the day of the event, Michael and Ms. Robbins attended discreetly, blending with the crowd.
Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story.
"Keep an eye on the kids," Michael whispered. Ms. Robbins nodded, scanning the children's faces. Joe, ever the perfect host, greeted guests with charm. "Welcome, everyone," he announced, smiling widely. Unbeknownst to him, Michael and Ms. Robbins were vigilantly observing every interaction, determined to uncover any signs of distress among the children. As the celebrations progressed, Timmy found an opportunity to slip a piece of paper into Michael's hand. "Read it now," he whispered urgently. Michael unfolded the note, his eyes widening as he read, "We need help. Basement." He looked up, catching Timmy's desperate gaze. The plea for help was unmistakable, sending a jolt of urgency through him. "We need to act carefully, but swiftly," he thought. Alarmed but composed, Michael handed the note to Ms. Robbins for safekeeping. "We'll act after the event," he whispered. Ms. Robbins nodded, her heart pounding. They continued mingling, ensuring Joe remained unaware of their discovery. "Stay calm," Michael reminded himself. As the celebration continued, they silently planned their next steps. Their top priority was to ensure the children's safety while gathering enough evidence to expose Joe's true nature. Post-event, Michael and Ms. Robbins wasted no time in seeking a warrant to search Joe's property. "We need to move quickly," Michael urged. They compiled their evidence, from Timmy's note to their observations at the event. The urgency in their voices convinced the judge of the immediate need. "Warrant granted," the judge declared. With the warrant in hand, they prepared for the next step, determined to uncover the truth about Joe. Meanwhile, the children's behavior grew increasingly erratic, drawing more attention from school authorities. Timmy and Sarah often looked over their shoulders, their eyes filled with unspoken fear. "Something's wrong," Mrs. Clark whispered to a colleague. The distress was evident. Children, once vibrant, were now withdrawn and jumpy. The faculty documented each incident, hoping this would finally lead to answers. With every passing day, the urgency to intervene grew stronger. Joe, sensing he was under scrutiny, attempted to move something crucial during the dead of night. He quietly gathered the children. "Stay silent and follow me," he commanded. They moved through dimly lit hallways, carrying boxes and bags. Joe's eyes darted around, aware of every sound. His hurried actions hinted at desperation. As they maneuvered through the shadows, Alex whispered to Timmy, "Something's happening. We need to be ready." Michael intercepted coded messages between Joe and an unknown associate, hinting at an imminent move. "He's planning something big," Michael muttered, parsing through the cryptic notes. The messages spoke of finalizing preparations and moving the package. Michael's suspicion grew, understanding the implications. He coordinated with Ms. Robbins, sharing the troubling discovery. Both knew time was running out. "We must act before it's too late," Michael emphasized, gearing up for the next step. The children overheard Joe's plans and whispered among themselves about an escape night. "We must be ready," Alex told the others, his eyes filled with determination. Timmy nodded, clutching Sarah's hand for reassurance. The children formed a pact to stick together and find a way out. Joe's unusual behavior triggered their survival instincts. Every word exchanged among them carried hope, yet fear of discovery loomed over their heads. Michael teamed up with social services to make their move at dawn, planning a coordinated raid on Joe's property. "Every second counts," he briefed the team. They mapped out entry points and assigned roles to ensure a swift operation. Ms. Robbins rehearsed her part in calming the children during the raid. Tools and documents were ready, and everyone knew their mission: rescue the children and uncover the hidden truth. The tension escalated as a coordinated raid was meticulously planned on Joe's house. All units in position, Michael confirmed over the radio. Social workers and police units surrounded the property, their faces set with determination. Joe's every movement was monitored, their plan hinging on the element of surprise. "Wait for my signal," Michael instructed, watching for the perfect moment to act. The entire team braced themselves for any outcome. Multiple police units and social workers surrounded Joe's property, waiting for Michael's signal to move in. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Officers checked their equipment, ready to breach, while social workers prepared safe places for the children. Silence wrapped around them. The only sound was their collective breath. Michael, eyes fixed on Joe's house, waited for the slightest cue. The community's fate, and that of the children, hung in balance. Joe detected the looming sting, warning the children to stay quiet. "Do not make a sound," he hissed, eyes darting to shadows outside. The children, wide-eyed, huddled together, fear weaving through their small bodies. Alex, brave beyond his years, found a small flashlight and managed to signal the officers through a basement window. The beam cut through the dark, a silent cry for help. Joe's tension grew, sensing something was unraveling. Alex managed to signal the officers with a flashlight, revealing their hidden location in the basement. The faint light flickered through the window, catching Michael's trained eye. "We've got confirmation," he whispered into his radio. Officers nodded, understanding the immediate need for stealth and speed. Joe, pacing above, remained unaware of the quiet rebellion below. The plan advanced, every movement synchronized to ensure the children's safety and uncover Joe's sinister deeds. As the raid unfolds, Joe tries to flee. However, Michael intercepts him near the alleyway, cutting off any escape route. "It's over, Joe," Michael says firmly, blocking his path. Joe glances around, desperate but outmatched. Meanwhile, officers swarm through the house, uncovering hidden doors and peculiar setups. The air is tense, with each discovered clue pointing to deeper, more sinister activities. Joe's defiance falters under Michael's unyielding gaze. The raid uncovers suspicious containers and makeshift medical setups, raising immediate alarms among the officers. Stainless steel tables and odd chemical bottles hint at something dark. "What is all this?" one officer asks, his flashlight revealing more hidden rooms. The deeper they go, the more unsettling the discoveries become. Each step further into the house feels like peeling back layers of a horrifying secret, making the officers more determined to uncover the full extent of Joe's deeds. As the officers continue their search, they stumble upon hidden rooms meticulously concealed behind false walls. "This is bigger than we thought," an officer murmurs. Each hidden compartment contains documents, electronics, and more suspicious containers. "We've got to document everything," Michael instructs, seeing the gravity of the situation. The hidden rooms reveal a glimpse into a larger, organized network, far beyond a simple case of adoptive care gone wrong. The unfolding horror shocks everyone involved. Joe's meticulous records detail each child's background and intended fate, painting a dark picture. Stacks of files cover tables, each containing disturbing plans for the children. "This is sick," an officer mutters, flipping through pages. The evidence points to a systematic approach to exploitation. Joe's dark plans, methodically executed, leave no doubt about his intentions. Michael, taking in the grim details, feels a surge of resolve to bring justice to these innocent lives. Alex reveals more disturbing elements about their confinement and forced compliance under Joe. "He made us follow strict rules," Alex explains to Ms. Robbins, his voice trembling. "If we disobeyed, there were punishments." The children's stories of intimidation and fear corroborate the evidence found. "You're brave for speaking up," Ms. Robbins assures him. Every detail Alex provides adds weight to the case against Joe, showing the extent of their suffering and the need for urgent intervention. A forensic team recovers incriminating evidence from the basement, validating years of suspected abuse. "This is undeniable," one forensic expert states, examining the findings. Bags of documents, locked cabinets, and disturbing restraints paint a chilling narrative. Each piece of evidence supports a history of maltreatment and exploitation. The basement, once a place of nightmares for the children, becomes the key to understanding the full scope of Joe's heinous activities. Every discovery strengthens the case against him. Social services arrive, relocating the children to emergency care, offering immediate psychological support. "You're safe now," a social worker assures Timmy, wrapping a comforting arm around him. Each child is given medical attention and a warm place to stay. "We'll help you," they promise. The children, though relieved, carry the weight of their trauma. Professionals work round the clock to provide comfort and begin healing. The community rallies, offering additional resources and support for the children's recovery. Joe is taken into custody amidst a barrage of media inquiries and community shock. Cameras flash, and reporters shout questions as Joe is led away in handcuffs. "Why did you do it, Joe?" one reporter demands. Joe remains silent, his once calm demeanor shattered. The community, once admiring, now feels betrayed and horrified. Conversations over fences and in cafes revolve around the revelations. "How could we have missed this?" neighbors wonder, shaken by the unfolding truth. During the interrogation, a startling revelation emerges about Joe's underground labor exploitation. He wasn't just adopting, he was grooming them for labor, an investigator explains. Coded files and secret communications reveal a network of high-profile clients. The implications shock the authorities. "This is huge," Michael realizes. Each piece of the puzzle points to a broader, more sinister scheme. The community, glued to news updates, struggles to reconcile the horror with their previous admiration for Joe. Joe was grooming the adopted children for labor exploitation, selling them through a clandestine network. Flash drives and coded files detail contracts and payments from various clients. "It's a trafficking ring," Michael concludes. The testimonies of the children and incriminating evidence secure Joe's future behind bars. The community grapples with the betrayal, pledging stricter checks for future adoptions. Authorities vow to dismantle the entire network, ensuring no more children suffer under such a scheme. The investigation unveiled that Joe's network included high-profile clients, rattling the community and authorities alike. Names that people trusted and respected were involved, leaving everyone in shock. "How deep does this go?" whispered one officer. The murmurs spread like wildfire, shaking the very foundations of their trust in the social system. The sheer scale of those implicated forced authorities to reevaluate their approach, knowing this wasn't just an isolated incident. "These kids were commodities," Michael muttered, disgusted. Every decode revealed transactions tied to influential figures, fueling the urgency of the case. The evidence was damning, showing a well-orchestrated operation. Each discovery pushed them closer to understanding and dismantling the whole network, bit by horrifying bit. The children's emotional testimonies, alongside the incriminating forensic evidence, secured Joe's imprisonment for a long time. "He's not getting out," an officer declared firmly. The court, moved by the detailed accounts of the children, showed no leniency. Joe's calm mask had crumbled during the trial, revealing guilt. The verdict brought a wave of relief, but also grief for the community. Justice, though served, couldn't erase the scars left behind. The community grappled with a profound sense of betrayal, realizing they had been deceived all along by Joe's facade. "How could we have been so blind?" neighbors asked each other, their voices laced with regret. Trust, once abundant, had shattered. Conversations in cafes and over fences turned into discussions about how they missed the signs. Joe's actions left a wound too deep for easy healing, their admiration now replaced with collective dismay. Grieving parents and neighbors pledged stricter checks and support for future adoptions, vowing to prevent similar tragedies. "We must learn from this," Mrs. Thompson insisted during a community meeting. Initiatives were launched to create more stringent vetting processes. The community came together, with local businesses and residents contributing to support groups and monitoring programs. The haunting memory of deception spurred a collective effort to ensure no child faced such terror again. Authorities initiated measures to dismantle the clandestine network, aiming to bring everyone involved to justice. "This won't happen on our watch," Michael asserted as raids began nationwide. The scope of arrests spanned multiple states, each name a blow to public trust. Investigators worked tirelessly, piecing the puzzle together. Every raid brought them closer to eradicating the dark underbelly of exploitation Joe's network had perpetuated. The mission was clear: dismantle, arrest, and restore. With Joe behind bars, the children began their journey to healing with the help of social services. "You're safe now," a counselor assured Alex, offering a comforting smile. Therapy sessions and support groups became regular parts of the children's lives. Professionals worked tirelessly to rebuild their trust and sense of safety. The road to recovery was long, but each step forward brought them closer to a semblance of normalcy and hope. The town gradually returned to normalcy, with a renewed focus on vigilance and community support. "We're stronger together," became the collective mantra. Despite the lingering shadows of Joe's betrayal, the community's resilience shone through. New policies were implemented, and vigilance became part of their daily lives. The horrifying events left an indelible mark, yet the united effort to safeguard their children fostered a sense of renewed hope and solidarity. Officer Michael and Ms. Robbins received commendations for their bravery and dedication in solving the case. "Your efforts saved lives," the mayor praised during the ceremony. Applause erupted, a testament to their unwavering determination. Their vigilance and quick thinking prevented further suffering. The recognition brought a bittersweet relief. Though honored, Michael and Ms. Robbins knew there was more work to be done, ensuring the safety and well-being of every child. Joe's case served as a harsh reminder that evil can lurk behind a facade of kindness, highlighting the critical importance of vigilance. "We can't overlook the small signs," Michael addressed a community meeting. "The ordeal left an indelible lesson. Appearances can be deceiving." Moving forward, the community vowed to watch over one another more carefully. Trust, though shaken, was slowly rebuilt with a collective resolve to never let such darkness infiltrate their lives again.